Hey guys, this is Tostemac. This video is going to be a little bit different. Sorry, no gameplays today or theatrics with Thomas. So, for some of you may know, this month, April, is also Autism Awareness Month, where people talk about autism or recognize people who have autism. And for those of you who know me personally, will also know that I have autism, or Asperger's syndrome, if you really want to be specific about it. So this is really something that's near and dear to my heart, so I decided that for the month of April, I'll be doing vlogs to talk about my autism experience with other people in the hopes that they might learn something, or at the very least, enjoy the stories I tell. So these videos will be on every Saturday at 3 p.m. for the month of April. And for the first vlog I'm just gonna do a little bit of an introduction to myself, so that way people know who I am, where I come from, why you should listen to me, or may want to listen to me. It's not like I'm forcing you or anything. So my story begins with not a childhood dream or an act of rebellion or whatnot, but rather a question. Why am I different? It all started when I used to live in California when I was in a special needs class in elementary school, that while I fit in with those students, I couldn't help but notice that I acted differently than others, or they didn't behave the same way I did. So one day I asked my mom, why am I different from everyone else? And that was when my mom told me about that I had autism. That it was a special gift given to me. And not only did this make me feel unique or one of a kind, but it made me more curious, like, what is this autism? Like, how did it affect my life, or how does it affect other people viewing me? So eventually I got to do some studying on that when I was doing so good academically that teachers had decided to put me in the regular ed classes when I was in 3rd grade to see how I would do. And while I did good grade-wise, social-wise, not so much. I mean, I couldn't really connect with anybody, or at least anyone that wouldn't pull a prank on me or make fun of the silly noises I make. I mean, heck, when I went to lunch or recess, I just went back to the special needs group because I felt more comfortable there. Not only did it feel right, for lack of a better word, but it kind of felt like one of those cartoons or animes where you're in a timeless world, or like where you're surrounded by your bunch of friends in a kid's show, having a good old time and whatnot. Yay! But then, after I graduated elementary school, me and my family had to move from California to Maryland. I ended up losing most of the friends that I made there. And the reason for the move was reasons beyond my control. And the first few years that I was in Maryland were, I'm not sure if I want to say abysmal, but probably really difficult. Like, I couldn't really connect with anyone. I was surrounded by a bunch of normal people, or neurotypicals, in other words, that would just ignore me or pick on me. There were a few bullies here and there. I think a couple people threw rocks at me, though can't really remember who exactly it was. So it wasn't really going too well for me. But then my family had met an elementary school teacher that I had in Maryland that eventually became my mom's best friend. And she introduced us to a new county that we could move to that was a little bit better than where we were in now. And and while we moved there, we were also introduced to a Boy Scout troop, and which gave me an opportunity to not only learn more things, but also interact with other people again. And when I made the move, or the second move, the first move was from California to Maryland, bear with me on this one. The second one was more local. And I started to notice that I was able to make friends again, both with high school and the Boy Scouts. Like, I found people who were like me, in the sense that they either had autism or just as crazy as I meant. But I try my best not to get too attached to them. Mostly because ever since that big move and the other move, I kind of felt like I was cursed for a while. Like, I felt like every time I graduated schools, I would lose my friends. Mind you, this is before I learned about the internet. But throughout the years, I couldn't help but make a few friends that were just too crazy to ignore. And after high school, something happened. The friends that I made while I was in high school and Boy Scouts, I actually got to hold on to for the first time ever. And it was something I haven't felt in a long, long time. And it felt really special to me. It was people I could actually grow with or hang out with. I could clearly say that, hey, we've been friends for a long time, since high school, whatnot. And it felt really great. Now, then there was when I went from high school to college, and during the time I was taking Boy Scouts a bit more seriously, working towards Eagle, that I kind of hit a bump in the road, for lack of a better phrase. Like, when I got to college, it wasn't enough to simply get good grades anymore. I mean, mind you, like when I was in elementary, middle, and high school, I didn't really have too many extracurricular activities that I was in. It was mostly get to class on time, get good grades, make mommy and daddy proud. But when I made the transition to high school to college, it wasn't really that simple anymore. It wasn't just about earning good grades. It was actually trying to learn something to make something out of yourself. Like, it was a couple steps away from the big, wide world out there, and I wasn't really sure what to do. So then I met a photography teacher at AACC that really inspired me to go down the path that I am now, which is I'm a photographer. So I went to the community college and a university, majoring in photography and whatnot. But as I was taking photography classes at college time, not only was I trying to get good grades, but I started to make a project, a name for myself, something I wanted to work with. I've always loved creating things. I always loved making art. But at the point I was at now, it couldn't be making something just for the sake of looking pretty anymore. For me, it had to have purpose, a reason. So I tried to think of a reason, and I kept thinking back to when Mom first told me about autism and my experience with autism. So I decided that would be what I would be focusing on. So right after I graduated community college, there was a bit of an art show I got to be a part of, where I did my first ever photography project for autism, where I basically had a perfect black and white picture of a butterfly and whatnot, and a few other images. I sabotaged it to kind of make a transition from the abstract or vague to clear and reality and whatnot. I could probably go into further details, but that would just take up the whole dang vlog. But I also did something else. For my Eagle project for Eagle Scouts, I actually did a autism orientation day, because I found that my transition from high school to college was really difficult in the sense that it's very different from high school. Like, you got a lot more freedom, but also a lot more responsibility. So I made an orientation day introducing high school students with autism to college life. Like, what's it like there, and how to prepare for it. But then, when I graduated from community college and went to university, some more opportunities came up. Particularly in the form of a photography group known as the Umbrella Syndicate. And the Umbrella Syndicate is a group that basically goes to a bunch of events and helps amplify people's messages through their photography work and social media promotion. And at that time, I was really just looking for an internship, whatnot, something to fit the criteria for my bachelor's degree and whatnot. But my internship with the Umbrella Syndicate eventually became a blessing in disguise, in the sense that it opened the door for so many things for me. Like not only was I able to do what I like doing as an actual job, but with the nature of the job, I actually got to go out to all kinds of places that I wouldn't otherwise be able to. I got to interact with different kinds of people every single time I went to a job. It was a whole new experience, a whole new way to socialize with other people, to make trials and errors, make some jokes, see which jokes work, which jokes don't work, and whatnot. It was absolutely incredible that I got to do all the things I did, and I get to record my experience at those events in the form of great photography work. And then another great thing that came out from that job for the Umbrella Syndicate is that I got to work on a special project of my own. There was one time I was at a university where I was making a art project, or an art book with some digital fancy Photoshop things and whatnot. And at first it was just another art piece I made that was gonna just do nothing but collect dust, on the shelf, unless someone wanted to buy it. But when I told people at the Umbrella Syndicate about my book, they were like, hey, we know this people who can actually get it published and whatnot. And then I was able to, at that point, I was able to get an opportunity to make an official project for myself, to make something that's not only artistic, but is something professional, something I can get out there for people to see, to get and enjoy and whatnot. And which eventually led to my first book. Yay! But I still work there to this day. Then once I got out of university with a bachelor's degree in photography, I took my first step into the real world. And I'm not sure if I really want to describe it as... not sure if I want to describe my step into the real world as a slice of humble pie or a big kick to the fanny. Because I started to realize that while I did get a job, that the things that I learned in college weren't enough anymore. It doesn't really prepare you for everything that's out there. So, from that point onward, I decided that I was going to learn a lot more things on my own to get my name out there and make a name for myself, a reputation, if I will. So today, I am a professional photographer for the Umbrella Syndicate, going out to different kinds of events and helping people grow. And also a school photographer for Life Touch for yearbooks. And I'm also an author for a book. Just ask any questions if you want to learn more about it. And of course, I have YouTube now. And of course, my little brother Thomas is in it too. Yeah, that guy. So, as you can see, I have autism and I'm perfectly A-okay. For the most part. Anyway, so that'll do for the first vlog. I want to thank you guys so much for listening to this first vlog, and I hope you stay tuned for the other vlogs coming up every Saturday at 3 p.m. for the month of April. So in the comments below, let me know what you think about the story. What impressions did it leave you on? And even after the month of April, would you like me to do some more vlogs afterwards? So I'm gonna stop for now. Thank you so much for taking the time to look at this vlog. And until the next video, see you later.